I am so delighted to have with me Cristina Rae, who is a musician, a singer, a performer. She is also a finalist on America's Got Talent. If you saw the most recent season of America's Got Talent, you saw Cristina and her amazing story. So I am really excited to chat with Cristina and talk about her journey, what the experience was like on America's Got Talent, how it has changed your life. And also we'll go back a little bit and talk about your story, because your story was featured in a pretty prominent way on America's Got Talent. And it was so compelling, which is obviously one of the reasons they decided to focus on your story. So I can't wait for people to hear it. And thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So Cristina, I need to start with the question that I'm sure you get a lot, but would love if you could talk a little bit about the experience you had on America's Got Talent and how it came to be.
Okay, so my experience with America's Got Talent started off as a showcase. It was a showcase audition they were hosting in New York at the time. I was doing burlesque in New York. So I was approached via Instagram, and I just knew it was a scam. Like, I'm not doing this. This is fake. But then someone emailed me, and they invited me to the first round, which was the showcase audition. And the sound was terrible. It was just the worst audition I believe that I've ever had. But because they do make you use the PA system that they have there. So my phone wasn't compatible with what they had in there. And so it was just like, yeah, this is probably not going to happen. But I did that. And then they said we wouldn't hear anything until after the holidays. So I went around the November time. So Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all of that had to pass. So by the time I received a phone call back, I had forgotten that I had auditioned.
No.
I had forgotten I had auditioned, but I had just appeared on Apollo. And because this was Amateur Night at the Apollo's first show of the year, they went live on Facebook. And they had it where people could vote for you and cheer for you and all of that. And so after, I guess, America's Got Talent got hip to my performance that night, that is the next day. Okay, so Wednesday I won the Amateur Night at the Apollo. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And then the next day on Thursday, America's Got Talent called me, and they were just like, yeah, so we saw your Apollo performance, and we would love for you to come to the judges round. And I was just like, what? I didn't say anything to her for probably the first 2 minutes when she was on the call, because I'm just like, this is overwhelming. I just won Apollo yesterday, and now I'm going to see Simon Cowell in my face for the next round. And so it was just it was a lot, especially being in New York at the time and doing burlesque, which I know our shows come to an end, but you don't always know what's going to be next when you're a performer. And so I was just nervous, and I'm a mom. So I'm moving my baby there at the same time.
Yeah.
It was just very like, okay, what are you doing? God, universe, what's wrong with me right now? Because if you give me one more thing that makes me feel this way, I'm probably going to be an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
But it was amazing because the same week that I actually did the audition for in front of the judges, it was the same week I had to do Apollo again. So I got the buzzer on Saturday, I think it was March 7th. And on March 7th, I got that. And then on March 11th, I won Apollo. And then by the next Saturday, everything was closed down.
Right. Because so we're talking 2020 right now.
Yes.
So you're leading up You're
Yeah.
building this momentum. You've got this win at Apollo. You're getting the golden buzzer on America's Got Talent. And then suddenly the world shuts down.
Yes. And I was on, I had just been cast for a part in this show called The Radiance Baby Radiance, or Radiance Baby. And it was a Broadway show. And so this was going to be my first Broadway credit. And it's like, why would you do this? Like, why? But
wow.
just everything just stopped. And I think it was now a whole year later, I'm very appreciative of the stop because it allowed me to rest, and it allowed me to sit down for a moment before the actual AGT started.
Yeah.
So I was grateful once I realized I needed to sit down and be still.
So how long was it between when you got the golden buzzer in March and when you started actually filming the season of America's Got Talent?
So the actual air date for my episode of the Golden Buzzer was June 28th. So it was almost a full 4 months that I had to be quiet about the Golden Buzzer. And I'm just like,
you couldn't tell anyone that, oh wow, for 4 months you had to.
Not even in the audition, the actual, when the moment happened, I had to go from this big shock moment with confetti all in my bra. I looked like a little pinata by the time I got back to holding, but I had to go back into holding with other contestants acting like nothing happened. And I had to do an interview.
Oh my gosh.
In there acting like nothing happened. And
oh my gosh.
I was just in shock, and I just kept staring off. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Do you know what just happened to me? Like, I was talking to the interviewer, and they were just like, what happened? I'm like, I got the golden, like, I had this, it's a box they gave me, and I had to like slide the box into my purse so no one could see it.
Oh my gosh.
So it was just, it was so much adrenaline at that time.
I can imagine. And then, but then to your point, you had these 4 months of knowing and then having this period to almost like really process it before you then went and your season started to.
Started at the end of July. So from July to September 24th, my son, my teacher, who is the nanny for my son, in California for 3 months.
Wow. So it's a 3-month filming process from start to finish.
If you continue to go to the next round, yes. So every round, they like send you your possible flight because you could be going home the next day. And every time that you make it to the next round, they just cancel your flight and then
keep you going.
Yeah. And so you never know what's next. You we were quarantined on top of being sequestered, and we were having to get COVID tests 3 times a week. So
oh my gosh.
Like, okay, they brought our food to us every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner. So we were never hungry, but it was just the fact of it's quarantine and it's a swimming pool outside. And I have a 3-year-old at the time who's like, Mommy, can we go swimming? And I'm just like, all of those people are sick. That's why we can't go. AGT did not want us going with the rest of the people who may have been in the hotel because they're not being tested every day.
Right. What would be if someone said to you, what was the most surprising thing that you think people would want to hear or understand about what your America's Got Talent experience? What would the most surprising thing be?
I would have to honestly say that America's Got Talent allowed me to tell the truth. A lot of shows, because it is a reality show, they form your story for you.
Right.
And on America's Got Talent, they just allowed me to be me and tell my story. And they didn't add, they didn't take away. Like, of course, they have to edit to fit the time period or
Right.
the timing that I'm given for my interview, but they allowed me to tell the truth,
Right.
and they allowed me to bring my baby with me. Where past shows that have asked me to come out and be a part of their show, they didn't let me bring my baby, and
Yeah.
I had just my baby was only 4 months old when I had to leave the first time, and that was for The Voice, and
Mm.
I was breastfeeding, and
Oh, wow.
I'm doing this. I'm a new mom, and I just appreciated America's Got Talent for not only just the whole live show run,
Yeah.
but even for the actual golden buzzer moment. It was about my baby and myself, and so I really appreciated that because you can tell that they cared
Yeah.
as much as it was about the story. It was about my son and I as well.
Yeah. Well, can you share a little bit about your story? Because for those of us who watched, it was so compelling, and it really, from the beginning, made people root for you
Yeah,
because you were so honest and you shared, and your son was there. I mean, it was just so heartwarming. Can you share a little bit about your story?
of course. So when I was pregnant from 2016 is when I was pregnant. I was a touring background artist, but after I would come off the Prevost or off of the flight, I would be in my Ford Explorer or I would be on someone's floor or couch, and it was very lonely at times, but while I was going through all of that, I was able to still dream and hope. Like, it was a house that since 2016, it's not come off of my web browser on any phone that I have. And I'm like, he has to learn how to tie his shoe on this step in this house. And this
Aw.
has to happen. And we have to bake our homemade fresh cookies from scratch in this kitchen. And so I still am like, I still pray and am manifesting that home for my son and I. But it's it was it was I had every reason not to be pregnant at that time, especially being that I was a homeless pregnant woman.
Right.
Um, but I just had hope that I know that he's supposed to be here for a reason.
Yeah.
And I know that me being pregnant at that time, I was told I would never be pregnant ever. And so he was just a whole miracle.
Really?
Absolutely. I was told by the hospital that you won't have a baby because you have PCOS, which is polycystic
Oh,
ovary syndrome.
yeah.
So I'm just like, well, I guess that is out the door. I will never be a mom. And now
Aw.
to a 4-year-old. And it's just like, yeah, you have purpose. And I don't believe if he had not been here, I would not have necessarily had the story. I just would have been the struggling artist that is touring and sleeping in my car, not
Yeah.
that I was a mom, about to
Right.
be a mom and homeless, but still living life as if I have it all. And so
Mhm.
yeah, it was.
Well, and I love that you have also, I love the idea of manifesting. We've had on this podcast, we've had other guests who talk about this, the value and the gift of being able to manifest and
Absolutely.
how it can very much change your life. So I love that that is something that you do. If you had to say, what was the golden buzzer moment for you? So you are brought out, right, to go through this judging process. It happens right after the Apollo the Apollo win,
Mhm.
and you get out on stage, your son's there with you, and you start to sing. Can you talk about what happens? Because it is incredible what happens.
So if we go a little bit further back, I had no idea I was about to go on stage when I
You
did.
didn't?
No, all they told me was, oh, it's time for an interview. And I'm like, oh, okay. Do it. So I'm not about to perform. And they kept saying, no, you'll be back. You'll be back. And I'm like, okay. So I'm just going out. I barely have like a lip gloss, and I don't have my gin that I put in my mouth when I sing. So I'm just like, okay, I have an interview. And they're like, yeah, so you're about to meet with Terry. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm going back. They're like, no, after you do this, you're going on stage. So the man brings the mic stand to get my height. And I'm just like, no, like I don't have lip gloss. I don't have water. And they're just like, oh, you'll be fine. You look beautiful. And I'm just like, I was bamboozled. Like I was hoodwinked. Okay. But I went and I'm talking to Terry. And
Terry, who's the host.
Cruz, yes. I'm talking to him, and he's just, how are you? Are you good? I'm just like, I'm good. I'm Cristina Rae. And Jeremiah is just scoping out things as he does as a little protector. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like, okay, Jeremiah, you're going to stand right here with Mr. Terry. And I told Mr. Terry, I was like, well, you got to take care of my baby. Like, he's like, oh, I have lots of them. I'm like, oh yeah, you do have a lot of them. But I walk out there and I'm not expecting smiles and cheers because no one knows me. Right. No one seen me nor heard me yet. And so I walk out there and everyone is cheering, and Simon Cowell smiling, how everyone is smiling at me. And I'm just like, hi, y'all. Like, how are you? And they're just all pleasant. And I started singing In the Air Tonight. And it was just like, okay, this is the song that I won the Apollo with the first time, that made them want to even bring me out. Right. And it had never been an approved song on America's Got Talent to sing. And so that was even more of an honor to be there. And I finished my song and the whole auditorium stood up. And I'm just like, a tear is falling. Like, this is a lot. And I just keep looking at Jeremiah, making sure he's okay. And then he asked me to sing, why can't I think of it? Rolling Stones. What is it? Why isn't it working right now? It's just
they asked you to say, so the way it came across on the show was you sing this, this amazing song. And I'm like, this is, you sounded wonderful. And you have the audience is on their feet. They are clapping, they are cheering, they're screaming for you. And then Simon Cowell says, like, sort of doesn't look very happy, almost like he looks skeptical. Yes. And then he says, would you mind singing another song?
Yeah, and that was the Give Me Shelter song. And the funny part about that was I have never sung this song live until that moment. And I'm like, Lord, please give me the words, because I just got wind that I was singing this song on Thursday, and it is now Saturday, and I'm nervous. So
yeah,
I sing, and I'm basically freestyling this song as I am singing it on stage at that moment. And I sing it, and everyone is clapping and standing up, including the judges. And I'm crying even more right now. I'm not ugly crying, as you saw the next moment, but I am emotional because it's very rare that a person is accepted in the way that they sing legendary songs.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that people may not have heard Give Me Shelter, it was about give me shelter, and this is what I want, a home for my son and I.
Yeah.
And I took a leap of faith and a jump, if you would, when it came to singing that song. And so I sang it, and I'm getting all this love from the judges. And Heidi is like, are you ready for this? And I was like, I'm ready. Like, I'm just ready to go to the next round, not realizing that she was talking about she's about to hit the golden buzzer, and she hit it. And I didn't realize it until afterwards, but after she hit the button, I just went to the floor. And I mean, I know a lot of people pray like on their knees like that. And that's exactly the position I went into.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I had to give back what was given to me in the same moment that it was given. And my baby is like, he's like, who is hurting my mom? Why is she crying?
Oh.
He's looking like, what's wrong with my mom?
Right.
And he comes out there and I'm like, we're winning. That's all I could say to him. We're winning. And he starts picking up the confetti and I pick him up and I'm just cheering. And all of the judges came up to embrace all of us. Like they embraced my son and I. And normally you only see the golden buzzer, whomever pushed the golden buzzer,
Right.
is the person that comes on stage to hug you.
Yeah. But they all did.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this moment. Jeremiah, they gave us the golden buzzer box with more gold confetti in it. And my baby dropped it 3 times before backstage. But he dropped it and then they were just like, we got some tape this time. And I'm like, that's perfect. And I have confetti all on my face, in my eyes, and they kept trying to move it. I'm like, no, just leave it.
Oh.
And that was my moment. And then I had to act like none of it happened.
Wow.
It was
wow.
Whew.
So now let's talk quickly, if we can, about the experience with the judges, because you had as you mentioned, you had all 4 of them, right, come up on stage. The judges were Simon Cowell,
yes,
Heidi Klum,
Sophia Vergara, and Howie Mandel.
Okay, so you had all 4 of them come up on stage, congratulate you. What was the experience overall like with them as in terms of being judged on a week-to-week basis once you started filming?
The judging that they did on the live show was always, you are amazing. You're the one to beat. And this wasn't just when they were pushing record. This is like after they stopped. This is after they stopped recording as well. So it was like, this is for real. Like, this is how y'all really feel. And this is how you are appreciating my gift and who I am and my story as well, because my story is emotional and I realized it was a lot. It may be a lot of people going through that, especially during this pandemic, but it was a moment for the moms to realize that you can still do it, and the single fathers, you can still go after your dreams with your child literally holding your hand. And so they always were like, Jeremiah, you're so great. And I would see Terry Crews more often, and he's just like, whew, you are amazing. You better, don't you ever stop. Like they would encourage you off of stage just as much as they were on stage and when it was time to record. And so I think when it comes to Miss Sophia, it was always a shocking moment for her, because she normally would not be able to say anything. She would just be like, I don't know what to say. Like, and even in the first audition, she was like, if it was time to say yes, I would say yes. And so it was just, they're always positive. And I expected something different, especially seeing it on other shows, and especially Mr. Simon. It was just like, I'm expecting this treacherous person, and he was like a teddy bear. Like, he was the most supportive person. And then unfortunately he left due to his back. And I'm just like, where is he? We need him. Like, is he okay? Because we didn't hear anything else after we heard that he wasn't going to appear.
So how has your life changed since America's Got Talent? What's changed for you and your son?
What's changed? We have a home now.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. We have our 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhome. And I just kept telling him, like, we have our own room. You have your own room. And We have space to where we can do our fake shows if we want to. Sometimes we just go live and dance around.
Yes.
I have a honey.
Ooh.
Or it was before the live show, but after the actual show broadcast. And he was just we went to high school together, and he was just like, "Why wouldn't you tell me you're homeless? Why would you go through this?" And I'm like, dude, it was
Yeah.
hard, and it wasn't just something I wanted to share,
Yeah.
but we have an amazing guy in our lives.
Oh, that's
And,
wonderful.
we get a lot of virtual shows. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of virtual shows, and Jeremiah pop in, "Mommy, is it time for you to sing? Is it time for you to talk?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is." And he'll go in his room, or if they want to see him for a moment, I'll bring him in, and he'll hi. And he tries to do the shy thing, but I would say the biggest thing that has changed is my baby every day, if not twice a week, is just like, "Mommy, I'm a superstar, and
Oh.
I'm going to be on the stage and I'm a dance, or I'm gonna be on stage and I'm a sing, and it's your
Mm-hmm.
turn to sing now, Mommy." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
okay, like he is. I just feel like my a legacy that I've passed on to him right now,
Mm-hmm.
to dream and to
Yeah.
believe.
Mm.
And so that's my biggest thing that has changed, because you never hear, or rarely hear, that the parent is a superhero.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels when it comes to Jeremiah.
That must be the best feeling for you as a parent, to know that you're able to give your son that
Mhm.
and allow him the ability to dream. I mean, what a gift you're
Yes.
giving to him.
You can be happy. It's literally a choice. It's either waking up Monday morning and saying, it's Monday morning," or waking up Monday morning and like, I still got purpose. Like this internal music that we have, that's a
Mm.
heartbeat. It should keep you going and keep you dancing every day, because
Yeah.
you are a walking jukebox,
Yeah.
okay? So keep living.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, that it's you just strike me as someone who really has so much insight and self-awareness too. Is that something that you got growing up? Like, where does that come from?
Um, I would have to say it came from pain, because
Mm,
I feel like sometimes I have every reason to be bitter and every reason to be angry and
mhm,
sad, but knowing that um in life you have these generational inheritances,
mhm,
and these generational curses is what we hear more about, the curse on the family and all of that. And
yeah,
I'm just like, I'm going to pass on inheritances of peace and inheritances of abundance and just joy, because we have so much more to be to give, to make us happy, than we have of those things that make us sad. But
mhm,
the moment of sadness is so much heavier, and because we live in a world that is clearly driven by negative news, and
mhm,
channels are driving you to see all this negative stuff, it makes you automatically sit in the energy, because that's what's given to you more. And
mhm,
so being in a lot of pain and having your heart broke by friends and family, it will sometimes bring you down in that moment. And if you have to sleep in your bed and go to sleep and cry yourself to sleep for a few days to a week, or a, don't go past the week,
mhm,
but if you have
mhm,
that, you owe that to yourself to get it out, because if
mhm,
you keep it in, then it's just going to continue to rot. And you
mhm.
don't want it to rot, because that turns into sickness, and that turns
Yes.
into other things. And
Mhm,
I just know that I want him to always know that his choice of happiness is up to him. It's not in another girl. It's not in another man. It's not in
mhm,
anybody but yourself. And
mm,
so I just decided that from this pain that I've experienced, I'm going to turn it into light, and
mhm.
I'm going to keep winning. I'm going to keep seeing love and seeking love. And as long as I am love and light, then that's what the next person who I speak to will be as well.
Oh, I love that. And it is so true, right? That, if the way that we think in our heads and how we feel, it's projected to the world. And it is such a gift if you can bring people your lightness, which is
Mhm.
clearly how you live your life.
Yeah,
Who's been a role model for you? Have you had women in your life who've been role models?
I have. I would have to say I have my mom who is like fabulous fashion, all of that. I want her to always know that even though she doesn't see herself as perfect, that she is. And
Mm,
people who appreciate the perfect that you are the people that deserve you. Um,
mhm,
and I wouldn't be able to see that unless I saw it in myself as well.
mhm,
And so
mhm.
I have my mom, my granny, who is fabulous. She is in her 70s and just she's beautiful. Like
Yeah.
she's just started her own wig review line. And older women don't do that. And
No,
she's just
that's
like, I just
awesome.
want to do this. And I'm like, Granny, you got this. And that's inspiring to me. I have
Yes.
Miss Lamb, who is my teacher, who she was my teacher in high school, and now I'm 31, and I still am able to connect and reconnect with her.
Amazing.
And she's an amazing actress. She's
Mhm.
also a producer and director of different shows and acting guilds, and so I have a lot of people around me to get little pieces from, and not just keep the pieces to myself, but then give them what they gave
Mhm.
me back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot of them in my life.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So, can you talk a little bit about what's next for you? What do you have coming up? Because must have been, I know it's probably like, wait a second, I just finished that incredibly overwhelming experience,
No,
life-changing experience. Give me a minute. But
no,
I think people are probably eager to know what's going to be next for you.
so I am writing for my album that'll be coming out soon.
Oh,
Actual date, but we are writing,
yeah.
and we just have to get in the studio and put it all on the good old record. I also have a Legends tribute that is coming up with the National Museum of African American Music here in Nashville, and I can't remember my date right now, so please excuse that. But I promise, if you follow me on all social media, or if you just follow the Cristina Rae story, then I'll be posting that as well. I'll be performing in Panama in June, which
Wow.
I'm excited about because that's like sun and water and a whole lot of greatness. Um, I'll be doing that. I've still not technically finished the completed the rounds for Amateur Night at the Apollo. So we're waiting for those dates to come at any moment now, because
Ooh.
I won 2 rounds. Yeah, so I won the 2 rounds, but it's like 2 more rounds that I have to win.
So, how do people follow you? Tell people how to follow you on your social.
You can all follow me on Cristina Rae, Cristina Rae, and that is without an H. And you can follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Um, yeah, that's pretty much. I'm
Yeah.
on TikTok, but I just can't get jiggy with it. The challenges are just they just got different challenges every day, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that.
But you are such a talented dancer. I've seen some of the videos that you've been sharing on your social, and you're multi-talented, right? You can sing, you can dance. I know you said have you been doing a little bit of acting too?
Oh yes, yes.
So you're like a triple threat.
I'm
I
trying. I'm working on that.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait to see what you do. I think there's just such wonderful big things ahead for you. Christina, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We really appreciate it. And we will be on the lookout for what's next for you.
Please do. And thank you so much for having me.